Today we're going to be talking about a new member of the family coming to Texas Chainsaw Massacre that might be the most sadistic out of all of them. Let's go and get into it. Now, if you like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre content that I'm doing here, consider subscribing. Really appreciate y'all. Now, this character was leaked, just a few days after the initial release of Texas Chainsaw, but I really want to get into the details of this character because, like I said, she has some crazy abilities, and I really like the backstory and how it plays into the family altogether. The character we're talking about is Black Nancy, and by the way, Texas Chainsaw News and Leaks on Twitter or X is how I'm getting this information. So big thanks to those guys for the work that they do and how they get these leaks. And this one is solid for sure. Everything I've seen that they've put out has been solid so far. Nancy is actually related to a killer we already know in the game, Johnny. So apparently she's his aunt, but it wasn't by natural progression as far as a traditional family tree, as you would imagine. Apparently she actually killed Johnny's mother and then took him in as her own. Now, I instantly, when I heard this, I thought, man, this would be a great storyline. So I really hope they kind of expand upon this like they've done with Maria and Ana Flores type of, main story. Hopefully they can work this in. I don't know if Johnny knows this information, but we do know what became of Johnny, obviously, with Black Nancy actually raising him up. Now, when I heard the story about Black Nancy and Johnny, it kind of reminded me of Texas Chainsaw the beginning, where you have the lady that has the child's thrown in the dumpster, and then Luda Mae Hewitt comes along, takes the baby in as her own, and then that's where Charles Hewitt, played by the late and great R. Lee Ermey, says,
"That's the ugliest thing I ever saw."
So kind of a hilarious way to introduce Leatherface, of course, that being a prequel to the '03 movie. Now, they call her Black Nancy because she's been married 4 different times, and all 4 husbands have either died or mysteriously disappeared. So people relate her with just bad things in general happening, a bad aura about her, and so that's why she's called Black Nancy. So her backstory fits in perfectly with the family. What about her ability? Her main ability is called Spy, and so this allows her to get a mental note of where one of the victims is, but it's going to show it in first person. So this is going to be interesting, especially when you're down to 1 victim left, and being able to see potentially where that victim is, if you don't have grandpa maxed out or whatever the case may be. So really interested to see how that plays out. Now, there's also a negative effect, just like all of the characters in the game, where she's going to be stunned for a certain amount of time after she uses that ability. Now, I'm sure there will be perks to help with that, but she can also use Sissy's little powder stations, if you will, to overcome the effects of the stun. She can also place traps, but they're a little different than Hitchhiker. They're actually little mini pieces of barbed wire. So you could put these in, cracks where victims are coming through, or high traffic doorways, or, whatever. And it does 2 things that are pretty interesting. It's going to cause them to bleed. By the way, she has one of the best blood harvesting, if not the best blood harvesting in the game, but it's also going to make noise because it's going to be attached to their leg for a certain amount of time. So you're going to see where this character is. And that's going to be super helpful for a lot of people. If you get her, maybe you get Cook, and then of course Leatherface in the same game, I imagine this is going to cause some havoc for some of the victims out there. Now, one thing she can also do is she can pick up the trap and move it if she needs to. Now, I see little locks on the trap, and I'm not sure if that's just how it's held together or if the family can actually disassemble these with a lockpick. I would assume that's kind of the case because everything needs to have a counterbalance to it. But I'm really excited to see how some of these games work out. Actually, I saw one gameplay footage that actually had Connie walk through it. The piece was stuck to her leg, and then, it looked like the trap was actually mangled and stuff, and she was able to still pick it up. So I don't think it's a one and done type of deal. She can still repair it, or however that's going to work, or just place it out again. I'm not really sure, but I really cannot wait to use her and this ability. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, of course, she has some executions that I want to cover: Deadbeat, the Hobbler, Roadkill, and Texan Skull Crusher. Now, I'm not sure if all 4 come with her right from the beginning, or if you maybe have to buy an execution pack to get some of these. That's maybe how they're going to do it, kind of like what they did at launch with the execution pack. We'll just have to wait and see. And all of this is packaged with the new map Junkyard. And this is Black Nancy's home, according to the leaks that I saw on X. And so you can see some of those things that I'm going to share with y'all here on the screen. Johnny has his own shack at this place, and I'm really excited to explore this and see what it's like to play as this character. Now, as far as a timeline, I don't know if we'll be getting it this week. I don't know if it'll be next week. But I'm hoping sometime in October or early November is when this stuff will drop, because it's been leaked for some time. I just hope it comes sooner rather than later. So I'd love to hear your opinions on this new character. Are you excited to play with her? And I'd love to hear from y'all in general, man. What do you think about the game so far? Are you still enjoying it? All of that kind of stuff. Leave that down below. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold 'em down.